have expressed concern about what might happen if some of the modified females survived and while biting people, injected them with an engineered protein. Oxitec separates males from females, but with so many mosquitoes, a few genetically modified females invariably slip by. Oxitec puts the number at about 1 in 3,000. This is a nightmare scenario, and we don't have any published data that answers the question. And I saw a quote in my stack here from someone at your company, it may have been you, correct me if I'm wrong, saying, hey, they're not going to pass any of their DNA or whatever on to you, or viruses, RNA. But, I mean, doesn't a female mosquito bite you and inject saliva into you to liquefy before sanguinating the delicious meal so she can produce her larva? But you're saying there's no danger?
No, we're saying there's no danger, but I would also emphasize that everything we do, whenever we work in any country, we always work with the experts, whoever they may be, whether it's the Ministry of Health, whether it's a leading research institute, and we also always work with under whatever regulatory system there is. So you've always got an expert, or an expert institution that we're working with, which is local, and you've always got the fact. But
you're the expert on these mosquitoes. I mean, I don't think there's anybody that knows more than you. Why do you say they're safe? Okay,
why do we say they're safe? Because firstly, the DNA. What we've done is we've put in two changes, if you like, to produce this sterility effect. Now, this protein that's expressed doesn't come up in the salivary glands of the female. You can't find it there, so you're not going to get any mosquito biting you and pass this protein. Even if you did, this protein, we've done very thorough studies on it, and it doesn't show up in any of the databases as an allergen or toxic or whatever. So it looks absolutely safe, and it's not in the salivary glands. And the other thing, which is a bit more anecdotal and less scientific, is obviously we work with them all the time, and we've all been bitten over and over again.
Well, I think that's probably is some of the better proof right there. The old-fashioned thing, nobody's getting sick there being bit. How do you feed these little buggers?
How do we feed them? In the lab, do you mean, in the production system?
Yes, do you throw like some poor dog in there? And I'm joking. or do they just go to a Petri dish and ingest cow's blood? What is it?
Yeah, so we have blood that we get given to us, or we buy, and then we create these. It's like a little plate, if you like, with a film over it, and then that plate is put on top of the cage. You can put some CO2, some carbon dioxide into the cage.
Because they track off that, right?
Yeah, they track off. Females are attracted to the pheromones that we give off. They're attracted to the carbon dioxide that we give off. They're attracted to sort of those factors. So if you give them a source of blood, you give them a couple of signals.
Sounds like bureaucrats. Sounds like tax collectors.
Yes, well, I can't comment on that.
Okay, so this is intriguing. What kind of blood do you feed them?
Horse, normally.
Ah, horse. Is this taken fresh from the horses, or is it at a French restaurant you get it from?
No, it would be taken from a particular source. I'm not close enough, to be honest. I'd need to get one of my guys to give you an answer to that. But basically, it's a controlled source.
You're not getting them from the Queen of England who's got toddlers strung up by their ankles, are you?
No, nor from anyone's favorite racehorse.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
I'm sorry. I talk bad about the Queen. I want to apologize for that now. No problem at all. Hey, the Diamond Jubilee just happened. Are you still celebrating?
Oh, yeah, we have to celebrate all year. It's mandatory or else we get exported.
You're something else, man. All right, listen, we're going to go to break. A longer segment coming up. I want to give you the floor to talk about why you think this is safe, where you're doing it, some of the other mosquitoes you're working on, and the rest of it. And for those that don't know, there are a lot of other companies. I know decades ago they had GMO larvas to kill the fire ants. Maybe you can tell us, because I know you're a scientist who studies bugs and have a lot of them working for you. What other kind of GMO bugs are out there? I think we should go in that direction. But Hadyn Parry came on. He's very confident, and he's a good salesman. In fact, I'm ready to wade into a bunch of these mosquitoes right now. I'm going to snort them. I'm Alex Jones. We're joined by Hadyn Parry, CEO of Oxitec. And I've got the New York Times here. Concerns are raised about genetically engineered mosquitoes. I've got some of the quotes here. The Oxitec technique, however, is not foolproof. Alfred M. Handler, geneticist at the Agriculture Department in Gainesville, Florida, said the mosquitoes, while being bred for generations in a lab, can evolve resistance to the lethal gene and might then be released inadvertently. Or what about mutations? Todd Shelley, an entomologist for the Agriculture Department in Hawaii, said in a commentary published on Sunday by Nature Biotechnology that 3.5% of the insects in the lab test survived to adulthood despite presumably carrying the lethal gene. I think the concern here, Hadyn, is how does the gene cut off the life cycle or sterilize? What does it do in these? Because, you know, we have the UN and all these other people, the science czar at the White House saying we want to put stuff in the food and water to sterilize or reduce population. That seems to be the moonraker, you know, dream of these neo-eugenicists. That's kind of the end trendy thing. I don't know. I mean, you're from a big university of science. I don't know if you've hung out with the trendies. What's your view on world population? You know, I just see a children of men scenario. If it's not from your mosquito, there's so many of these bugs, insects being released, spider goats, everything else, human genes in cows so they can get organs. I mean, I'm already seeing problems from GMO. I mean, do you get some of the apprehension out there that people have, or should we just embrace it right now and just inject ourselves with mosquito genetics?
No, I think what we have as societies, we have a number of challenges in all walks of life, and I think what we try and do is to innovate, to make things safer, to make them more environmentally sustainable. And I think that's what we're seeing here. I mean, at the end of the day, what are we doing at the moment about mosquitoes? We produce chemicals which are like a blanket bombing approach. We swamp the place with chemicals. At the same time as we're trying to take out the dengue mosquito, we're also taking out umpteen other species, which do no harm at all and also disrupt the food chain. And
bioaccumulates in us. Oh, I agree that.
And accumulates. So, you know, we are already carrying out a very, what I would call fairly brutal way of trying to solve a particular problem spread by one mosquito, which is in and around the home. And also we're not being successful because this mosquito, despite best efforts, is not controlled. So if anyone wants to look at the Florida Keys website, you'll see that even now, 1 in 5 houses they find this particular mosquito in. Despite all the best efforts, and down in the Keys, you've probably got one of the best mosquito control teams around. You know, we work with people in a number of different countries. These are top-class guys, and they've got the resources, and they find it very, very difficult to control this mosquito.
I was about to say, a lot of these lobbies out there would make more money using poison. So, I mean, I would imagine there are some lobbies out there that probably are more than happy to demonize your program because it would probably be much cheaper to use the genetic warfare aspect than chemical warfare.
Well, I think our approach will be cheaper than chemicals, but I think it will also be more effective, and I think it'll be much better for the environment because we're like a sort of sniper's rifle, if you like. We're only looking to take out the one insect that's causing the problem, and that insect shouldn't be there. It should not be in the Keys. It should not be in the States. It came from Africa.
How did it get over? In a load of lumber or something? Or they don't know?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, it moved. Mosquito eggs are fantastically transportable, and they're really resilient. So if you have freight going onto a boat coming out of Africa and moving across the States, or it's coming from Cuba or Puerto Rico, wherever it's coming from, and you have mosquitoes laying eggs in and around that freight because there's some standing water, those mosquito eggs will be there and they will come over and they will get unloaded. And the other way you transport mosquitoes is through planes. I mean, we've all been in an aeroplane, and as you're coming into land, the people come through and spray insecticides. You know, that's how we transport them around. We have changed our environment by bringing these mosquitoes in. And I reckon, you know, our method is we are just focusing on the one mosquito that's causing the problem.
Well, you seem like a nice enough fella, but I mean, you can see why people get concerned when, I mean, explain exactly what this does to the mosquito, because you put them on antibiotics. I mean, explain what's happening here.
Oh, okay. Well, there's two different things. The way in which this mosquito, this mosquito has a gene that when it's inherited by the offspring, results in the offspring dying before they get to adulthood. Basically, it disrupts the way in which the cells grow. Now, of course, if you have that in a mosquito and it can't get to adulthood, then the next question is, well, how on earth can you create enough mosquitoes to put them out into the environment? So the system has a way in which we can block that effect. So we can actually feed these mosquitoes in the production environment with a chemical called tetracycline. That actually suppresses the lethal effect, and it does it through a molecular blocking effect. It doesn't do it because it's an antibiotic. It's a pure sort of lock and key molecular effect. So in the laboratory or the lab, you can actually effectively give these mosquitoes an antidote. You can create large numbers of them, and then you can withdraw that. And for the generation that you're going to release, you just release the males. They don't have access to the tetracycline in the open environment, and by definition, then they're sterile. They're carrying that gene.
So they go out and breed with the females.
Yeah, they go out and breed with the females, and every time they breed with a female, instead of that female having 70 to 100 eggs each time and up to 500 in their lifetime, then they won't produce viable offspring. Now, if you keep releasing the males over a period of time, then you'll bring that population right down. But you won't be affecting other mosquitoes. You won't be affecting other insects like you would with an insecticide. So it's species specific.
I got to tell you, just my gut with these hundreds of companies, developing different insect-based systems. And I mean, look, you saw it come out with GlaxoSmithKline this week with a whole bunch of their drugs. They knew they were killing people. They knew some drugs weren't even helping people and were only hurting them. It was all a big joke. You've got Merck. And I know these are big, giant, faceless companies. You're the head of your small company. You're coming on. You believe in your product. I don't think you're a bad guy. But you've got these faceless bureaucracies. Merck, caught with its vaccines, knowing it's giving people measles, mumps, rubella in the shot, killing people in cases. You got Bayer knowing HIV and hepatitis is in the factor 8 for 11 years, shipping it out worldwide. It's that cold-blooded, really craziness of these companies. And now we see it with the big GMO companies and clear connections to problems. The honeybees can't eat it, but we supposedly can eat it. It's got its own pesticide. Oh, it's natural, but it's 1,000 times stronger. All these gut disorders. Something is wrong. And I think part of it is the pesticide load in the environment. Undoubtedly, autism is a cocktail. It's linked to that. So I'm not just here blaming GMO. My issue is when Bill Gates is running around releasing mosquitoes at events and funding mosquitoes, forcefully inoculating you and giggling about it, that's why people are really scared of this. I understand you're a smaller company that's developed this, and I don't want to get you in trouble with potential funders like